everybody, Raw Lucario here, and welcome to the second episode of the Gaming Through the Ages podcast. And today on the couch, I have with me Llama Lord 2004, and today we're going to be talking about Super Mario 64 and Super Mario 64 DS. But before we go, I just want to take a minute to talk about what you're seeing on screen right now, this beautiful, beautiful piece of art that the other two normally regulars of the podcast who couldn't be on here today, JBW and Glacier, worked on together. I think it looks really, really good, and I'm really, really excited to have it here for this episode. So, Llama, how are you doing today?
Good.
Great. So, Mario 64. I want to talk about both games because I feel, the DS version's just a different version of it. But I want to talk about Mario 64 for a second and talk about its impact on just the gaming world in general. Because I would argue that it's probably the most important Mario game to have ever come out, at least aside from the first one. I mean, when this sucker came out, you had like nothing in terms of 3D platformers, nothing.
It gives you a one-up in your pants.
Yeah, right, right. It does. It is beautiful. It's a good game, but I think it's definitely dated. I think, but there's no doubt in how important it is. But what I wanna ask you, because I don't understand this. Why has it had such a resurgence? You know what I mean? Like, this game, aside from like what GTA, Minecraft, and Fortnite, is probably the most played game on YouTube, and I don't know why. It's a good game, but the amount of speedruns and glitches and all these things that people have made videos on, it's so much. I mean, right? Like, is that just me? Like, does it not feel weird?
I mean, it feels normal to me, really.
I mean, I don't know.
Because
I guess it's just weird to me because of how old a game it is. And
either
it's
or
not
that's
like it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same game
well,
over and over and over
all,
again.
all I could say is that it has more replay value than GTA and shit.
I mean, that's
Because
true, because with
you get more
GTA, it's like,
enjoyment.
you're just doing the same thing over and over again, but
You get more enjoyment out of actually exploring the game than just actually playing any other thing.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, let's just say though, like, how did they get it right so, like, off the bat? Because I think the only other 3D platformer that I can think of that might have come out before this is like Bubsy 3D, and that game was a dumpster fire. And even then, I think it came out after Mario 64.
I don't
Like,
even think about it. That was just to capitalize on Mario 64, so I can't.
yeah, but I mean, why were they able to get it right from the first time? Because you're jumping into a whole new dimension. You do not program 3D games in the same way you program 2D ones. Like, I would have expected this game to be like a decent stepping stone, but nothing more. But they managed to make such a beautiful masterpiece, and I
It's,
don't know how.
I mean, you think about it, it's just lightning in a bottle. They did it once, they'll do it again like they did with Odyssey.
Yeah, right. See, that's the thing with Nintendo. It's like with Mario games, it's like you have just banger after banger. One like okay one here in a while, but they just constantly do good. Like Mario Brothers for the time was amazing. Mario 2 amazing. 3 amazing. World amazing. 64 fantastic. Huge step. Then Sunshine came out, and that's divisive. Some people think it's
It,
amazing. I personally am not in that camp.
I mean, like it's a decent game. It's not for me really.
Yeah, it's decent, but I don't know. There are moments in there where like there was one time where I genuinely wanted to throw my controller at the wall playing Sunshine because I was just so aggravated with how the game worked. I really hated it so much. But I mean,
I hate
I
super
think
levels.
one thing I will give Sunshine is that the way the worlds are designed artistically is unlike any other Mario game. Like a lot of Mario games, it's
I
just
like
like
the
desert, lava, grass. It was a nice change of pace.
I like that Mario Sunshine was technically the first time we ever heard Bowser Jr. ever speak.
Well, it was also the first time you even saw Bowser Jr. to begin with. That
Oh
was his
yeah,
first appearance, and they decided. Yeah, it was weird. I think what was so weird about that game is that like everybody talked normally except Mario. Like everyone talked fully and like had full voice acting, and then Mario was still just going around like wahoo, like what? Like where did that come
they
from?
didn't get they didn't get Chris Pratt the voice.
Yeah, yeah, that was their problem. Chris Pratt wasn't old enough to do the voice yet. Uh,
He was still in the womb.
well, I think he was alive, but he was probably like maybe 10 or something. I mean, he wasn't that. He was probably
He
very
was too
young.
busy kidnapped by aliens.
Yeah, bro. Okay, but like I said, this is a Mario 64 episode.
Not
I
the Mario
think
movie.
let's not go down that rabbit hole because that's just not somewhere I want to go right now. What I want to talk about though, primarily in this episode, is Mario 64 DS because I think that that is by and far the superior version of the game, but it's never talked about. It's never mentioned, and if it ever is mentioned, people say, "Don't even waste your time with this one. Play the original." It's like, why? Like, can we both just agree that Mario 64 is the better version, or Mario 64 DS is the better version of Mario 64? Can we just agree on that? Like,
I mean, I would have to agree because it at least adds more to the table. What characters you could play and more bosses.
yeah, right. You have more characters, more bosses, more levels, more stars. You have mini games that are great. And I know that they removed the BLJ, but like there are so many more glitches you can mess around with that are way more fun in that game. And it's better looking. The the only issue with the game is the D-pad. That's it. That's the only problem. And even then, it's not a big problem either. It's an it's an annoyance at best. Like I think if you go into Mario 64 with or 64 DS with open mind, I think you can have a really great time with it. I really do. But I want to know why people just diss on this version of the game cuz like aside from that one issue, it is better. There's nothing worse about it. I mean, unless you're trying to emulate it cuz I mean emulating a DS game just sucks. Like that's not fun. But I mean, we here at Raw Lucario 64 Productions know nothing about emulation legally. Um, uh, but yeah,
Why?
I'm just
Why
joking
do you wake up specifically and say that?
because I don't want YouTube to think I'm encouraging emulation. Because
Let's go Emily right now.
bro, don't do
Come
this to me.
on, come on, let's
Don't
encourage
you
this.
do it. Man.
I dare you all to emulate the DS
Don't
version.
stop, please. I can
I
feel my
do.
channel disintegrating.
Good.
All right,
Feel it.
but uh, like I know you said you think like one's the better version of the game, but I think you can kind of prefer like one over the other to go back to.
I
Do you
prefer
do you,
both, really.
you prefer so you prefer like if you had to pick one over the other, you would go DS, you think?
Both. I can't.
Both. Both.
Both.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can see
like,
that.
they both have their ups and downs.
Yeah, I do. But I do too, but I think for me, I would always go back to the DS version because I think there are certain things about it that are just better.
I think the
I think
only
the biggest one is the map. Like the map is so helpful and you just like it's something that's just really nice to have. I really wish the 64 version had a map you could even just like pause the game to look at, because a lot of 3D platformers have maps, and that one didn't for some
I
reason.
think the only issue why the DS version doesn't get talked much about is because it's not as widely accessible as the 64 version.
That's fair. Like, pretty much unless you have a DS, you can't play Super Mario 64 DS.
You have to go
Well,
on
I mean, it is on the
eBay,
Wii U too, but it's not great on the Wii U. But like Mario 64 is on every Nintendo console, I think. Aside from
even on
like,
the Switch,
yeah,
even on
aside from
emulation.
GameCube, it's accessible through every console.
Yeah,
So, I mean, yeah, that's
Luigi's
true.
Mansion's pretty good.
All right, sorry about that little
What
interruption
other
there.
things can you actually emulate? Let's see.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
What's what's going on here?
Nothing.
You
Nothing.
talking about something while I was dealing with stuff
No.
really quick?
No.
All right. So yeah,
Don't
look,
listen to
I think
encouraging.
I think one thing to consider too, if you're talking about like controlling the game, I feel like you have to talk about it on original hardware because like Mario 64 DS is really only playable on the DS unless you emulate or use the Wii U version, but like who's playing the Wii U version of Mario 64 DS? I feel like you have to talk about the controls based on original hardware. And so while the N64 controller does have an analog stick, the thing is, it's still the N64 controller. And like, I get it. It was the first controller for its time, but it sucks. Right? Like, can we just like, it sucks. It's not good. It's not a good controller. Like, I'm sorry to burst anyone's bubble, but like, so I feel like if you're having control issues, I feel like it kind of evens out in that respect. I mean, I don't know. You feel the same way, I'm assuming, right? Like it has to even out at a certain point.
Well, I kind of spaced out a bit. What controller were you talking about?
I was talking about the N64 controller.
Oh, right.
Like that,
That was a.
it's not a
It
good
just
controller. Like let's be real.
it just looked a bit odd to me, but I can see why most people could like it.
Like it has a schlong. Like it's not good. I'm
It's
sorry.
like
When your
medieval.
controller has a schlong, there's a problem. There's a big problem.
When your controller has Spider-Man looking at your dick, you got a problem.
When your controller is SpongeBob's nose, you've got a problem. All right. Uh, all right. Sorry, went off on a tangent there. Let's bring it back. I'd like to talk about the mystery of Mario 64 and 64 DS. Um,
Hell is real.
yeah. Let's not beat around the bush anymore. L is
Oh,
real. 2401.
and it was proven, and it's funny enough that it came out like
Yeah. Okay. So L is real is I think is such a it's such a beautiful part of gaming history. So I feel like most people watching this episode knows what L is real is. But when you're talking about Mario 64, you can't not mention L is real. Cause it just was it was just a topic of discussion for so many things, right? And like everybody was trying to figure out what it meant. And then they used the same placard in Ocarina of Time, and everybody was like, "Oh man, so Luigi must be in this game." Uh, no, but it's so mystifying to me how you can have this thing, right? Just sort of take over the identity of a game and just get so ensconced in its lore, I guess. I don't know. Can you really say Mario have has lore? Is that
uh,
is that something
no, I
that you
can't.
can say?
I can't. No, honestly, the story's a bit iffy, really.
Yeah. Yeah, the story of the game. I do want to talk about the story of the game a little later, but yeah, so when you were talking about that earlier about Ella's real being proven, you were talking about the decompilation, right?
Yeah,
From two
when
years
the
ago. Yeah, I'll let
biggest.
you talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit because I've kind of taken over the whole Ella's real part. I'll let you handle the decompilation.
The biggest giggling in Nintendo history. The
Oh
Giga
yeah.
Chat leak.
Yes. Did you just call it the Giga Chad leak? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
I you know what? Yes, it was a Giga Chad leak, okay? It was like all this stuff got decompiled from their files, and then you find out that Luigi was actually in
He
the files of the
was.
game.
I mean, he
Um,
was planned for like a multiplayer feature, but they didn't have that type of
yeah,
equipment at the time.
yeah, right. And I think because Miyamoto had said that before, but I don't think people realized that he was actually
Yeah,
in the game. You know, like
he was just hidden behind the Nintendo Vault.
like he has a character model. Like that is crazy. Though the whole
Mm,
L is real part of Luigi just is complete bullcrap, in case you're wondering. There's no way to unlock Luigi. It's not real. It's
yeah,
just
I'm pretty sure people already know that.
yeah, well, I mean, you never know. I mean, I like to try and keep it inclusive for people who may or may not know. But
And then you got the stepbrother, and the entire mystery of Wall is real.
see, Waluigi is real is another mystery in and of itself. And
He could have been planned, but it was probably cut before it
thank you
was
for
ever
agreeing
cut.
with me on that. Thank you. I've because I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, he's not in the game. He was never in the game."
He
Da.
probably had
But
the same Luigi problem, really. He was
yeah,
meant to
there
be
is
in it, but
evidence. And when you look at how the game is designed, there are things about it that just don't make sense, right? Like the whole white door thing makes no sense. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Like you
it's
go out
just
of
there.
your way to find these 8 rabbits that randomly spawn and hype up this big thing behind this white door that is in the character selection doors, right? Every other door in that room is for a character. And then you have this white door, and then you go through it and you just get a power star. Like, what is that? You know?
Again, I'm pretty sure they didn't even have any time to ever add them in, so they just did a quick go. Beep, boop.
See, I don't think time was the issue. I think they just couldn't figure out how to make him unique from other characters. Because, like, if you think about it, each character has like their own power flower ability,
Mm,
right? And they also have their own like momentum and whatnot. But like, what
well,
would Waluigi's even be?
I honestly don't know. I would guess he probably would have had something similar to Luigi.
Right. But see, then you do that, and it's like, what's the point of having him there if he's just a Luigi clone? You know?
Waluigi just gets smacked so hard, I feel bad for the guy.
I mean, Waluigi could be unique, but I don't think he could be unique in that game. Because that game has stars that are built around the abilities that all those characters already have. So you would have to either like split some of the abilities that a character already has over to Waluigi or just make him a clone of another character. Um the only other thing you could maybe do is if you made it to where like Waluigi had the abilities of every character and you unlocked him when you unlocked every power star. But
Mm.
I don't think that would really work well.
Who knows? And then you
Yeah.
got the infamous DeviantArt
Oh,
April
the
Fool's thing.
purple prizes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
what
got
you want
featured
to?
on the magazine.
Yeah.
The rabbits, the bullshit you gotta go through, the normal shit that Luigi used to have before.
Oh yeah.
It's basically just a stepbrother of the Yellow's rule.
Yeah, right. But
That's all it
I
is.
love though that Mario 64 had this big mystery with a character, like a secret character. But
He's
then
basically
somehow
just
its remaster also had that for a different character. Like, what are the odds of that?
before the internet. It was just like one of those playground rumors you can just have before it was like
Yeah.
widely
Yeah, it was
accessible.
playground rumors, but then by the time Mario 64 DS came around, although primitive, the internet was there. I
It was
mean,
there. It's just not a lot of people had access to it. Well,
those were before the days that, humanity died to Twitter, but
yeah,
it wasn't that far off.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate that my character is Twitter colors. I just realized that.
You are Twitter. You are Elon
Oh
Musk.
man. In case you're wondering, my character is the one next to Llama with the Rayman hands. Oh man, on the right.
This is Elon
Um,
Musk.
and then JB's on the far right.
Yeah,
Oh
he's the
man.
only one that's not furry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
he's the only normal one here.
yeah, he is, right? Well, I'm not a furry. Like I'm wearing a mask. Don't do that
Still.
to me. Come on. Don't do that to me.
I'll go do it too.
All right, let's see. You know, I think we need to talk about the glitches of the game a bit because
Oh, well, we already know about the entire BLJ backwards long jump and the bullshit
the
that 64
BLJ.
had.
You know what? I'm talking about two different versions of the game here, right? But I really
This,
should be talking about three because there is a secret third version of the game.
hmm,
Are you aware of the third version?
I'm not too aware.
The Super Mario 64 Shindo version. This is one not a lot of people
Oh,
know about.
oh yeah, yeah. That's the same one that fucking they did for like the Switch version.
Yeah, the Switch uses the Shindo version. Um, so for those of you who don't know about the Shindo version, it's a version that was made after
It's the Karen version.
yeah, it's in my opinion it's the worst version of the game because it, it um it literally is just the American version of Super Mario 64 with a few changes made to it. So the thing to keep in mind with Japan got the game a few months early, right? So there were certain things missing from the game, like voice lines was the main one, and also there
The
was like
so
a
long
glitch
Gay
with like a
Bowser.
model in the game.
The infamous so long Gay Bowser.
Yes, yeah. So
Oh,
those,
that
yeah.
that'll
So
forever be canon.
yeah, the Shindo version adds all the voice lines from the American version, aside from So Long Gay Bowser. They got rid of that one. And then they also made a couple of changes. One, there's like a new Easter egg on the title screen where if you press, I think it's the Z trigger, a bunch of Mario faces will appear in the background.
Oh no.
Um, Another one is for some reason when you grab poles, like I think in the original version you would just kind of spin around, but now no matter which way you spin, you'll spin to face the camera for some reason. And the final thing they got rid of was the backwards long jump. So, yeah.
That's the greatest crime against humanity.
Yeah, but like I said, like with Mario 64 DS, it doesn't have the backwards long jump, but it has way more glitches to make up for it. This is just a fixed version of Mario 64, and it's just like if you're gonna play the 64 version over the DS version, I don't know why you would play a version without the BLJ to mess around with. I really don't. But yeah, the Shindo version. The only other thing I can think of is I think it has a unique uh cartridge art. That's
Hmm.
about it. But yeah, that's something to think about mentioning when you're talking about this game. Um, but yeah, let's talk about the DS glitches because the DS glitches are way more interesting. So, what's your favorite glitch from the DS version? Because I have mine.
I honestly don't know.
Well, what's the one that like comes to mind when you think of it? Like, what's the first one you can think of?
I guess the complicated Yoshi glitch where you just get the one on mushroom last second to progress through and to go into the Bowser's level as Yoshi.
That is an interesting one. I don't actually know if I know about that
It
one.
it was recently, I'll say it was just recently discovered, but someone was doing an entire challenge trying to beat the game as Yoshi, so he went to the Mario DS subreddit, this not Discord, see if anyone can help him with it, and they found a glitch that's like that.
Hmm. Oh, wait, is it in the aquarium room?
Yeah.
Was it Nathaniel Bandy who did that?
Yeah,
I remember that now. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good video, by the way. I don't know if it was on Nathaniel Bandy's main channel or his secondary channel, Nathaniel
I
Nandy, but
don't know.
either
I haven't
one,
watched.
I'd recommend that video. That's a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, I already
Um,
watched the entire thing before.
I did, but it was a long time ago. I think it's probably been like a year since that video's come out. Um,
Yeah.
let me think. Oh. My favorite glitch from the game is a glitch that allows you to get into Bowser's fight as like Bowser's final fight as any character you want
Mhm.
because it is the most dumb thing that is ever existed. For one, I don't know why you're not allowed to fight the final Bowser as any other character besides Mario. That feels really
Plot armor.
I don't know why. Hold on, controller dying. Okay, I think I'm back. My controller died midway through what I was saying. Um, yeah,
Nice.
so favorite glitch in the game, you do a slide kick on the stairs of entering Bowser's door, and 95% of the time you'll just fall into the void and die, but then other times it will shadow warp you up to the top of Bowser's door, and if you land correctly, you can just jump in as any character you want. And it's a fun glitch to pull off. But the other thing too that's really weird about it is that if you successfully beat Bowser as say like Luigi, the ending cutscene will be completely broken and you'll actually die in the credits because it will spawn your character somewhere else. And so you'll respawn outside of Peach's castle and every bit of audio will just completely cut for some reason except for the noises your character makes and it's really unsettling. But
This is this is just an opinion. Whenever you see the cake, it's just mirror in the background. Do you feel like an unnerving presence?
the cake is really weird. It's a weird cake.
No, I meant like in the background. You kind of see like a clock, but it's not like it doesn't really look like a clock at the time. It looks like someone looking at you.
I think that's just a you thing because
Uh,
I don't know.
it feels very unnerving.
You know, that's actually a little point to bring up. There's actually an Easter egg with that where you know how it puts a character on your cake for each
Yeah.
character. It actually depends on what characters you save. So if you don't
Hmm.
save every character, it will only put the characters you saved on the cake, which is
Hmm.
interesting. Just thought I'd mention that. I mean, man, what else is there to talk about? I mean, this game is such a it's a brilliant game, but I mean, it's definitely not the most interesting, I
What
think.
about the personalized information for Mario 64?
Oh, the personalized copies. I don't know much about that, so I'll let you kind of talk about it a little bit and I'll jump in where I
The
need to.
entire theory is that each copy is personalized, with each and every copy having a different experience. Reasons
Yeah,
why.
yeah, but see, what about it is that's what I never understood. Like, what is it supposed to be? The levels? Is there like text that's like I don't understand.
Basically, the entire person, like every person has a new experience. Like they'll either get an enemy that was not in the other person's game. Like let's say like the cut enemies that were in 64.
Oh, the only one I can think of off the top of my head is the Magmars, but
The Magmars, the weird robot ones, are technically just the bullies.
oh yeah.
That. Um. And then the Wario apparition.
The Wario. That one was just goofy. Like, I'm sorry, that one was just goofy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's goofy.
it would just be like a PNG of Wario coming towards your camera.
Yeah, it's very goofy.
I mean,
Wow, I'm gonna show you fun.
uh, that
Oh,
was.
remember like back then, like they had the puppets of Wario and Mario to promote games that were coming out that year during like fucking uh PAX.
I kind of
Like Wario will be there to promote Wario Land.
bro.
I think
Imagine
Mario was
promoting
there.
Wario Land.
My Wario Land's actually a really good series. I'm surprised they never tried doing it again after the successful animated one, Wario Land Shake It.
The thing though, like Wario Land Shake, it's a good game, but it didn't
I,
really succeed that well.
I really wish it was an animated series because the animation looks so good.
Yeah, it really does. That's a sad thing.
It should have been a series, but we're not gonna see that in a while till
Yeah.
Nintendo pulls their ass on their own head.
I mean, I just like to remind you folks. I don't know if I talked about this in the last episode, but we could have gotten a Legend of Zelda Netflix
Oh yeah, you
series.
did.
But
Oh yeah, you
I
did
don't
that.
care. I'm saying it again. We could have
Okay.
gotten a Legend of Zelda Netflix series, and instead we got Dr. Mario for mobile devices. I just like to throw that out there. Like, Nintendo just hurts me sometimes. I feel like Nintendo's little whipping boy,
Oh, we
honestly.
should say
Like,
that.
dude, I do, and I feel like every Nintendo fan feels like that. Like,
Oh, this is not gonna go well after you said
like,
that.
oh, it's 4
Oh.
p.m. Time to wake up for your Nintendo Direct that mentions nothing but anime fighting games. Yes, mommy.
Time for your cock flattening.
All right, look, Nintendo makes a lot of bad company decisions, but when it comes to games, they're good at it. They're good at making games. The problem is that they just choose to make the dumbest games sometimes. It's like, do I really need a new Fire Emblem game this year? Not really.
No.
Okay, we'll have 2 Fire Emblem games this year then. It's like,
Have Bayonetta 3.
okay. Honestly, bro, Bayonetta 3, like,
It's
that
not my
was.
favorite. Honestly,
The
they
problem
did
wasn't
the.
really that they made the game, the problem was just how they treated everyone who was involved with making it.
Yeah, they fucked the original voice actor up. Like, they.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
don't want to
think.
get into that, honestly. I don't
I'm
want to.
just. In this. I'm just insane. So I don't like what. I don't like the new voice actor.
I mean, I
Anyway.
just don't like what Nintendo is doing. I mean, I wish that we could return to this time of Mario
It's more like
64 and 64 DS.
uh,
Because
I wish we had the Mario and Wario puppets back. I miss those damn things. Like,
bro, that's
right,
when
they're like
reality went
almost.
downhill, man. When we lost the Mario and Wario puppets.
No, like you should like see those things. Like you should actually look
Like,
them up.
I
Like
don't know
they were
how
so
people didn't
ancient.
predict the coronavirus after the Mario and Wario puppets stopped appearing. Like, dude, like, how did you not predict that, guys? But yeah, I
Like
mean, look,
seriously, they were like the best things ever created. Like I don't know what happened to them
I
after
don't
that.
I don't know either. But yeah, like, I wish we could return to this time though. Back when Nintendo like actually had legitimate competitors, because see, the thing is, while there are gaming companies that make way more money and have way more games than Nintendo, they never try to make a Nintendo-esque game so Nintendo has actual competition. You know, like Nintendo is always doing stuff like Mario and Zelda and Metroid. They're not doing like things like Uncharted or God of War or, you know, Halo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Nintendo needs a competitor so that they can actually start caring again. Because look at what happened when Nintendo cares. You get stuff like this. Stuff that 20, 30 years later, I think actually closer to 30, people are still playing. They're still talking about it. They still love it. And I want Nintendo to go back and
I
just
want to know.
rethink their business strategy and bring us
I
back.
just feel. Yeah, bring us back Wario Land, please. As much as I like WarioWare, Wario Land needs to come back.
Like, Wario Land needs to come. There's so many things that are sitting on their shelves, bro. Like even Metroid, they literally only make new Metroid games when people ask for them, so that they'll stop asking for them. Like that's it. Like it's like every like 5 to 7 years they pump out a Metroid game, and it's like aside from Mario and Zelda, they don't really do anything else. I mean,
Besides
how long has
Metroid
it been
Dread,
since we've gotten like a new um uh F-Zero game or a new Wario Land game like you said, or even like a game with Waluigi in it. Like I'd like Waluigi to be in a game that's not just a sports game for once.
honestly, Waluigi needs some love. He needs like a Wario Land type shit.
I
Wario.
don't know if he could really carry his own game. I'll be real with you, but like
I
why
mean,
can't he
yeah.
be in a Wario game? You know what I
Well, I
mean?
can't just be with him for once.
Like
They're
yeah.
literally the opposites of Mario and Luigi. They gotta be together for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I don't know, man. I just like Nintendo's making these decisions that are just not great. And I feel like they're gonna keep making them if we as a community don't stop. See, the problem is, right? Like, we as a community are just supporting the behavior because every time a new Zelda game comes out or every time a new Mario game comes out, we just buy it. You know what like, we
Right.
don't show that we want other things. And do I personally want a new F-Zero? No, I don't. But a lot of people do. So make your voices heard, people. Make your
Uh,
voices heard. And I'm not saying to like dox Nintendo on Twitter. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm just saying show them that you care about something else that's not just Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon. I mean, I
I
love
mean,
those things too, but you
as much
know,
as I love Legend of Zelda, can we like go like 1 year without one for fuck's sakes, or even Pokemon?
yeah, right. And I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna buy the new Breath of the Wild because the original one, and the reason why I want to buy the new one, is because it was a breath of fresh air for the series that had never like Nintendo was doing a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. They finally changed. And that's why I'm buying the new game because I support that change in the series. Mario could use a new turn up. Pokemon could use a new turn up. And I mean they're trying with Pokemon but not really succeeding.
It's
I,
always
I
the same
and
thing
I
with just a
just
new gimmick.
think about back here, right? Think about when Mario 64 came out. It completely changed the game and it completely innovated the way video games were made.
They
And I
also
know that
creative,
yeah, it was so creative.
and
And
they
I know
also
that
have
you
a
can't really like
creativity.
change the way video games are made now cuz I mean, we're just so advanced, but give us something creative for once, Nintendo. Give
Give
us
me a
another
Wario
Mario
Land.
64
Give us another Wario Land.
or another Wario Land. Honestly, I'd settle for that. But give us another good creative original game.
Give us Wario Land. The Wario Land Odyssey.
Or Wario World. Wario Galaxy. Uh,
Wario going to jail.
I'm not gonna. No, I could, but I won't. I could, but I won't. All
Wario
right, I
getting
think
through
that's a
life.
good place to stop this episode. If you guys did enjoy this episode of the podcast, please be sure to let us know. We really enjoy making these for you, and I have no idea what game we're gonna be doing next, but be sure to check my socials and check YouTube. I will post it ahead of time. And thank you, Llama, for joining me for this episode of Gaming Through the Ages. And we will see
Wow.
you all in the next one. Goodbye.